Hello everybody, Anders here with Mind the Shift. So, Catalonian independence, Me Too, sexuality. You never quite know what you're going to get on this podcast, do you? But I can promise you one thing, it's never going to be shallow. And it's always going to come from a foundation of unconditional love, a basis of wanting to see the whole picture and get everybody's view on things. I've been pondering the last couple of days and listening to some fascinating stories about the nature of reality. Once again, I do this all the time. I listened to a super cool interview with a guy called Bernardo Kastrup. He's born in Brazil, I think, but he's such a fascinating guy. And he wrote this book called Why Materialism is Baloney. I mean, just the title, huh? And he was talking about this thing that also Donald Hoffman talks about, Nassim Haramein, these guys who are on the cutting edge of trying to find out what reality really is, and that we come closer and closer to a point where materialism it's not feasible to adhere to that anymore. You run into too many problems if you try to figure out that, try to explain the universe, reality, as something which is at its core material, and that consciousness is derived from matter. It's more and more scientists, experts, not just spiritual people, I mean traditionally spiritual people, but scientists are coming to the conclusion that consciousness is at the core. Consciousness comes first, and matter is an aspect of consciousness. So you see it the other way around, that universe is all consciousness, and every individual consciousness, like you and me and all the animals and all the plants, are dissociations from the one consciousness that is the universe. And it all makes so much more sense when you see it that way. And all of that made me think that I was going to today talk about something, just briefly, as always, but associating to a lot of other things. This whole thing that with the universe being conscious and all, and the increasing acceptance that we are submerged, immersed in energy everywhere. Dark energy is everywhere. The unified field, it's all vibrational energy packed in every part of everything that we are. Which made me think of something. I had a dream. I wouldn't call it a dream actually, because it came to me in some kind of altered state of consciousness. It sounds fancy, but it wasn't really that I mean, nothing spectacular. I didn't take psychedelics or anything. I was plain and simply meditating a few weeks ago, and during meditation, a dreamlike image or a little story came to me where I met an entity which I perceived as some entity coming from another part of the universe, who took me to a spaceship, actually, where I communicated with entities that weren't, I mean, not through language with our mouths or so, just communicating telepathically about energy. And I just realized that the big problem with energy, the problem with our energy problems here on Earth is that we tend to still believe that we need to produce it in one place and transport it, distribute it to another place. So every house, car, means of transportation, heating systems, propelling systems, whatever, need to get their energy from another source, from somewhere else. So we produce it in one place and use it in a different place. And I came to the realization through this vision that I had, talking to these entities telepathically, that of course every entity has to be able to produce its own energy, the energy that it needs, because we are all immersed, bathing, swimming in energy all the time. So if we can just understand how to harness this constant energy that's just packed in everything that exists, then the whole thing would be solved, of course. And I mean, like somebody said, if I come up with this and have it in a more detailed way, I will get the Nobel Prize, of course. But I think we are getting closer to the point where not me, but other smart people out there will eventually actually find that kind of solution. It's really simple, really. I mean, it seems a bit, Stone Age to produce energy in big works, producing electricity or whatever, using fossil fuels in the worst case, or other things, just to produce this electricity that's then transported, distributed through these enormous wire systems to places thousands of kilometers away. That's really, really very old-fashioned, isn't it? I mean, we should every entity, every car, every house, every human being even, should be able to produce the energy that it needs locally. Now, that's very hokey, isn't it? And woo-woo. But I think it's going to be that way one day. So that was that. And a synchronicity was that I had lunch just today, actually, with an old friend. And anyway, he talked about energy. And he talked about the problems in Sweden with the production of electricity, which is so... there are so many problems. If something goes wrong, it's not going to work. People aren't going to get their electricity. So it was a real synchronicity there. Anyway, about practical things on the podcast, I think next week I will finally be able to relaunch on YouTube. Keeps our fingers crossed. I hope that's going to work out. I have now prepared all the episodes, and I've created thumbnail pictures for all the episodes. So I'm just gonna squeeze them out on YouTube, on the platform as well. So let's hope that's gonna work out. Have a wonderful weekend. Sun is shining. Bye for now.